Perfect. Good morning, all. We start our Legisway use case webinar today, in which we talk about contract management and how do we, start the journey from stress and we relieve that stress and we progress towards success. That's what we're going to talk about. But before we start with the crux of the webinar, I would like to introduce ourselves, and I'm sharing my stage with Margot today. Over to you, Margot.
Thank you, Lakshan. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Margot, and as a background, my background is in law, and I started my career at Clifford Chance. Then I moved on to different industries. I worked at Gartner, TUI, and Litera, so different industries, different scope to build an experience in legal technology. So I've been in the industry for over a decade when we started AI with machine learning and good old times, and I moved to with Wolters Kluwer to very high spec of AI based on open AI. But thank you for joining us. So hopefully the experience that we have, the experience of clients that I see on a daily basis as a senior sales manager at Wolters Kluwer will be helpful to you in understanding how to move from stress to success when dealing with contract management. Laksh, over to you.
Perfect. So my name is Laksh. Unlike Margot, my experience is in sales and business development. Although I am someone who loves AI, who loves technology, so I've been into different SaaS organizations over the last few years, and so AI and technology comes kind of naturally to me. But you are in very good hands with Margot, who's going to now tell you a little bit about how organizations feel in a very innovative story format. Over to you, Margot.
Thank you. So I want to begin our session with a story that I'm sure will be relevant to many of you, to your daily lives, because I do speak with many legal personnel, legal ops, general counsels, heads of legal in my daily work. And I hear those stories over and over again. So I want to tell you about a general counsel who one day emailed me. They were from insurance company, and they emailed me to say that they are looking for a solution because they feel that the amount of contract is increasing. There is too much admin. Sometimes it takes half a day to find a contract. On top of that, a lot of people around them are talking about tech, so they feel a bit left out and they want to check out the market. But otherwise, they say they are happy with the status quo, with the manual work, combined with some emails, sometimes SharePoint, and so on. So I feel like this story is a very likely scenario for many of you. But so as a sales individual consultant at Wolters Kluwer, I thought, well, great. We are Legisway, we are Wolters Kluwer, we have a solution for you. We have a contract solution to help you store, manage, and search contracts. Happy days. But then I remembered another client of ours with a similar issue. They came with a very similar issue, but in their case, they were, you can say, quite unlucky. The unlucky GC, as we may call them from now, the unlucky GC said from another company, the moment the COO realized we've missed the reinsurance renewal worth millions, the CFO and the board just stared at me and said, how did legal not see this coming? The unlucky GC that we mentioned now thought the renewal info wasn't in the spreadsheet, it wasn't in their inboxes. They finally found it buried in a forgotten physical folder, and it cost them millions. So back over to you, Laksh.
Perfect. Just a little pause in the story before we move forward with Margot's quite interesting story. And I want to, just emphasize on the importance of contract management. A lot of you must be thinking that this is very obvious. We all know about this, but you'll be surprised to see how many organizations still face challenges with this. They still have problems with costly errors. They're still not able to be ahead of deadlines. The overall efficiency of the organization takes a hit, and you don't want your legal team to be someone who's associated with risks, with the leakage of revenues, right? And so it's important for us to keep in mind the importance of contract management. Over to you to continue the story, Margot.
Yes, and coming back to the story of unlucky GC, it is clear that contracts are the spine of legal teams for companies' organization operation, whether it's insurance, as in our case, whether it's pharma, transport, anything, any other industry. But if those contracts are trapped in chain emails, Excel files, SharePoint folders, or in this case of the unlucky one, in a physical folder, they turn from protection, which contract should be, into a complete exposure. Imagine every claim, every reinsurance agreement, every policy that you hold, one little oversight, and you are firefighting. If you are lucky, it will be a small and unimportant one. But if you are not so lucky, like with the GC that we mentioned, the consequences could be unprecedented. But knowing lawyers' approach to things is not based on luck, it is based on data and information. Would you agree?
No, absolutely.
But
I talk to
here,
so many of them when I try to find organizations who are looking for our platform, and all of them are very they're into numbers, they're into logic. They don't believe in luck or being unlucky. They want to be systematic, right?
exactly. So I want to throw a number into you as well. 15%. Next to it, poor contract management. Can you guess what I'm trying to get onto? Studies actually show that companies can lose up to 15% of annual revenue due to poor contract management. 15% of annual revenue. And I'm quoting here some numbers from the International Association for Contract and Commercial Management. Now, I think they're called World Commerce and Contracting. Their reports suggest that companies can lose between 5 and 15% of annual revenue simply due to poor contract management. This is huge. But they are not alone, because PwC reports suggest very similar numbers, 9% on average, which falls very neatly between the other statistics. So in insurance industry, for example, because that's the unlucky GC that we keep referring to, that's premium losses, claims leakages, compliance fines, all because legal's flying blind by having documents scattered around in individual folders or on lawyers' desktop, and sometimes even in paper copies.
That's colossal, right? The the
Yes,
the
exactly.
numbers are shocking.
The numbers are
But then,
shocking. Yeah.
absolutely. But then we actually did not want to stop there. We do not want to only kind of quote the third party researchers. We wanted to take a step further and have our own research as well to find out in more detail why this is happening. And so we interviewed more than 700 legal professionals in UK and Europe, and the results for contract management were shocking. Do you remember in my previous slide I was mentioning the importance of contract management and how obvious it is to everybody, especially working in the legal teams, that why contract management is important, but the results were shocking, right? A very basic thing like a visibility into what contracts are currently present in the organization, which of them are expiring. About 60% legal teams don't have that visibility clearly to their in their system. About half of legal teams actually misplace contracts throughout the year in different periods, and then that leads to the leakages in revenues that Margot was talking about in the last slide. So you can imagine. I mean, there are a lot of more challenges, and I don't want to bore you with going through each one of them, but you get an idea of how high the numbers are and how many challenges are into contract management. But then we also did not want to stop there. I mean, it's not about just scaring you in this webinar and not talking about how actually we can improve that. But before we talk how we could improve that, we were curious to know why this is happening. And the why actually gives you an idea of how to improve it. Well, a chunk of legal teams are still using shared drives, which, I mean, it's better than the paper archives, but it's still not the I would say technology wise, it's still not up there. Shared drives can be deleted. Few of the files can be deleted. Few get lost. There's no way to get any alerts that some of these contracts, for example, are expiring, etc., or they need some kind of modification. There are a lot of organizations, as I mentioned, still using paper archives, and it's hard for me to imagine how they are managing. I'm sure they have a lot of manual work and headache. Few have no structure at all, and the most important, a lot of them are not using AI. And AI being the buzzword, and we see how AI has been used in all industries. It's basically helping all kinds of teams and departments and organizations, even outside legal, to make their life or work life easier and create efficiency. And it's hard for us to imagine that organizations are not using AI powered CLM tools or AI powered legal tools out there. Well, how does it look if you're using an AI powered legal or AI powered CLM tool? How does it look? And I think Margot is the best person to tell you that.
Yeah, so thank you, Laksh, because we were showing really interesting statistics. Even 7% seems small, but if you think that it's relating to per paper archive, this is really large number, I think, in current world, because this is the biggest threat when you think also of the unlucky GC that we mentioned, because that was the thing that they've missed in a paper version, actually. But also the poor structure where you are looking in getting sources from different directions. Currently on this slide, we are looking at a screenshot from Legisway's platform. This is an overview of some contract, selected contract with selected data that was extracted. I'm gonna just bring it closer to you, just so you see how what we are talking about, so you get an understanding in a shorter version of closer version. But just from that overview, do you know how long it takes to deliver an audit with a Legisway when you have all your contracts in? It takes minutes. You literally click a button, drag all your relevant documents or highlight the documents that already exist in the system, and you have an overview and audit run based on the data that are important to you. Compliance audit that used to take weeks now done literally with a few clicks. They're a few clicks away for you and minutes instead of days. So you can also cut contract review in a very similar format to what we are seeing here, with turnaround time from days or weeks that you used to spend on that, and multiple individuals and heavy resources devoted to it, to just one person and a few hours. Maybe at the maximum, if you are reviewing tens of thousands of documents. If you are talking here about dozen or hundreds, this is literally minutes for you of your time, because
Let me
it
give you an
takes on
idea.
average. Sorry.
It's just basically few clicks. I mean, I remember when I was taking this one meeting with one of the clients, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's quite interesting what you mentioned. We're talking about, and before we actually went into the demo, so to say, of the platform, we wanted to ask their current situation, and we wanted to see if for example they want to know how many contracts are expiring in the next 30, 60, 90 days. First of all, a do they get any alerts, and b, if they want to create a report of that, how much time would they take. And the GC on the other side told us that it will take him weeks, if not months. And then when we showed him that it just takes few clicks with us, or few minutes maximum, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then well, for the next 5 minutes he was just in shock. I mean, shock in a positive way, but in shock. So it was hard for us to believe that he did not have an idea of AI being so powerful. And that's what our mission is, right?
Exactly, but again, you think of turning around completely the way you work and removing that possible things, not even looking for information. Here, you can have an overview as per this example of any contracts that do not contain termination clause. They will be flagged to you and a red flag to you very strongly. And that would be straight in your face here when you are looking at the overview. The same with force measure. Okay, there is a force measure. Yes, that's what we wanted to flag. Any contracts with force measure, the rest out, need to be renegotiated. It's entirely up to you how you flag information, but that's just a low-hanging fruit. The most important thing is that what that GC, that unlucky one, tried to avoid and was caught in the midst of it, the huge risk, the huge financial losses and liabilities that are linked with it. Because on top of what we do with those basic audits and overview, everything else like drafting, reviewing, versioning, approving, renewing, automatic alerting, it's all centralized, it's automated, it's visible, accessible, only a few clicks away, but it's really that risk that we are the most concerned with. So we want you as lawyers to go from no to go, not to be the bottlenecks. As Lux just said, the surprise by being able to see all the contracts that expire here, for example, in the next 90 days. This is another example from our platform that shows you what overviews can you get containing some information that are relevant to you. But again, that could potentially cause a surprise, but it's there to help you out. It's there to make sure that you are able to deliver information quickly, not spend hours or days on finding contracts, which is typically the one thing that people struggle with, but it's not really a priority for them because they don't really think of what could go wrong when things really go wrong. Here is another screenshot of just a basic overview of your one particular contract, giving you all the data which you can extract in a summary format. So I believe all that's joining and that joined legal industry did not join to be blockers. With Legisway or any other vendor, there will be no more questions like, is this the final version? Did I miss a deadline? Where is this clause again? Where is this document? Where is this contract? Now, with a system like that, you simply have freedom. Your contracts flow. Different teams are impacted positively, like sales, like claims department, compliance teams. They move faster. They are much calmer. They have full visibility. And definitely no missed renewals that cost your company potentially millions if you are the unlucky one.
Well, I'm back with another stat, but this is the last one, I promise. But this is an important one actually, right? Because the report that I talked about, the 700 legal professionals that we interviewed, this is not just a one-off thing that we did this year. We do it actually. We've been doing it for quite a few years now. And in the past, for example, in the last year, we saw that the legal teams using CLM was just a small number at 33%. And we are already seeing a shift in the trend because this year it was 43%, so a 10% increase already. Again, at 43% also, I feel this is quite a low number to discuss, but you see the trend, right? 10% increase in just 1 year. People are realizing, or rather legal teams and organizations are realizing the importance of CLM, especially having AI with that is just, cherry on the cake, if I may use that word. So,
and it's great to see, Laksh, because the trend is there because people start realizing the things that they haven't seen before. Not Absolutely. The admin, the working a bit faster. It's great. It's an added benefit. This is what people come to us with initially, and they think, okay, not a big deal, but great to see. I love it, but not a big deal. But now they start realizing, they start sometimes being maybe unlucky, hopefully not. But this is what our initial COO and CFO mentioned. They no longer need to worry because they can get real-time alerts now. AI scans every contract for renewal dates and key clauses, and that mistake of missing renewal and huge financial losses, never again. It literally won't happen again. So the question to everyone is really, do you want to rely on luck? or do it the proper way and move with times and get everything centralized and accessible, not to be required to rely on luck. So I think that's my summary. That's the biggest question I want you to leave this call with and think, what's important to me? Is it the admin bit, or is it the unexpected things that can come my way if I don't know what I'm dealing with?
Exactly. I think you concluded in the best way. I don't think I have anything more to say, but I love the way you leave them with this question, which they're going to think for the rest of the day, I believe, because it's an interesting one and it really matters to them. But now, time for some questions. If you have any about Legisway, about the report that we did, anything, we would love to answer you. And
And
you will see a Q&A section in the, I would imagine, in the left bottom of your screen. And you can surely type the questions and we'll be happy to answer. But also, if you want to know a little bit in detail about the product, about Legisway, about because what we showed you is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more features. It's not only kind of limited to contract lifecycle. It's also entity management. It's also compliance. It's also other legal processes that you may have challenges with. So we'd be happy to also get on a one-on-one call with you.
And here are our details. If you want to get in touch, you can always reach us on LinkedIn or email us if you would like to follow up on any conversation. Or if you are not fancying asking a question today, please feel free to drop it later on to us. And hopefully the session was informative to you. As we see no questions coming, hopefully we hear from you very soon. But thank you so much for your attention and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks
Goodbye
so
for now.
much. Bye.